Hey, what's up guys, this is Astranox. This is gonna be my early thoughts about Lilias. It's gonna be a review as well. So she's a fire knight. I'll go over her skills. I'll talk about her stats. I'll talk about where you can use her in the game, be it PVE or PvP. And I'll go now over her skills, animations.
It takes a lot of courage to challenge me.
That's skill 3, man. Really cool character design. Look at that. It's wow.
For a rookie,
This has to be like one of the top skill 3 in the game. Well, for me personally, that barrier, man. It's
who's in charge? I never lose.
she's got that shield. It's like obsidian weapon, obsidian shield, but the shield is like she's summoning these like I'm not sure those barriers, and she's like building that shield on the go. It's pretty insane.
I'll show you who's in charge.
Yeah, so skill 1, she's like phasing. Really cool. Anyways, let's move on to her skills. So, skill 1 triggers a dual attack from a random ally, and also the damage scales based on her max HP. And this is gonna be really crazy in Guild Wars, but I'll talk about where you can use her more in depth later. This thing, a barrier on her that looks to be about 20 to 25% of her max HP, because when you go in skill preview, that's what it looks like, and 100% chance to provoke the enemy for 2 turns. What's really good about this skill is that it doesn't have to deal with elemental disadvantage. You are not dealing damage, so it's like Falconer Flurry. It's very powerful, but it's a 4-turn cooldown, which is pretty long. You're not going to be able to like lock down a target, but you have to remember this is a skill 2. This is not a skill number 3. And you can ignore effect resistance for 20 souls. So like if you're fighting a target like a soul weaver, a support like with super high effect resistance, and you can't like, you want to control them, you don't want them to heal, you want to take them out, or you want to just control that and take out one of their damage dealer, a big threat or something of the sort, you can do that. So you can do that with that skill. Skill 3, 4-turn cooldown. Now this is pretty intense. Dispels all debuffs from all allies and commands the Perlin army to fire on all enemies, decreasing combat readiness by 25% and inflicting damage according to the attack of the hero with the highest attack. This has some pretty crazy like potential usage. Okay, I'll go over that in a second. So it also increases her combat readiness by 50%, so she's gonna be able to just like use that skill 2, or maybe you want to use that skill 1 to like burst down a target that got lowered because of this one. And I mean, it's not only going to be her that's going to attack the target, it's going to be with a random ally as well, and maybe you get lucky and it's like that your ally that like deals a ton of damage. Or I'll talk about like how you should pair her, or like what kind of team setups you could run. But the thing is, like, imagine you're like you pairing her with Gunther, right? The light warrior. He cannot crit, but he can have insane amount of attack, like 8,000 plus attack. And if he's attack buffed, and she's built with crit chance and crit damage, I mean that's probably a crazy amount of damage that she can dish out. And she's a knight. She's a knight, and with the dual attacks that are getting triggered, the fact that she can like provoke, apply a barrier on herself for some sustain, really interesting, really interesting. But also like you've got the whole like remove all debuffs, then you decrease combat readiness as well. It's very interesting, very interesting. And her skills here, her stats I mean, she has the same stats as Cecilia, so she's very tanky, and she's also quick. You know, like sometimes you might be facing a Cecilia in PvP, and she goes first, and she provokes your whole team or something of the sort. I mean, you're probably running immunity. If you're not, well, that's unfortunate. And she also has effectiveness, which she does need. So very good. Now, things that I want to talk about is like with her skill 1, right? You could pair her with 2 big threats in Guild Wars, you know, 2 heavy hitters, and I mean, she will trigger one of them and you will deal a lot of damage. So she's like a 4 team member, because there's so many supports in this game that, you know, they use their skill 1 and they do nothing. They do no damage. But she has these 2 skills, skill 2 and 3, and instead of not doing anything with skill 1, you know, or maybe like some support, they can land a debuff, but they don't really have a bunch of effectiveness, so it doesn't do anything in PvP in most cases, while she'll be triggering dual attacks. So that's insane. That's very, very powerful. So yeah, that's almost like a 4 team member, like in a Guild War. And if she's built with like super high speed, and I mean, you're gonna need some effectiveness because the combat readiness reduction here and the provoke here, which like you don't have to worry about elemental disadvantage with this thing, so that's huge. And if you feel like if you cannot, you know, provoke the target and it's a long like battle in Guild Wars, you can just like soul burn and, you know, just lock down that Soul Weaver. That's really annoying. So I talked about the berry already. It looks to be about 20 to 25% of her HP. Let's just look at it here.
It takes a lot of courage to
You see her
challenge
HP bar. So I pop it here, and
moves.
to me it looks like,
Try me.
yeah, probably like a 20%. Yeah, more than 25. So it must be like a 20%. It's solid. It's solid. Now, yeah, I mean, you don't have to pair her with like a Gunther. You could have her with just, you know, an attack buffer, a support that could sustain the team. And, you know, it could be like DN. There's many options, really. But your third on the team could be like a high damage dealer. And, yeah, with that skill 3, she's gonna, like, even if you build her as a support, it's gonna deal some damage. But if you really want to get that big burst out, you're gonna have to build her with high crit chance or high crit damage. But you also have the option of, you know, you build her as a support, she's tanky and all that stuff, she's fast, and one of the ally, you know, in the team could have a crit chance buff. Like it could be a Challenger Dominal, you know, it could be a Furious. I mean, Tywin, not so much, but yeah, I mean, he could be there. I mean, Tywin, you've got the crit chance buff, you got the combat readiness boosting, and you also have defense down. So with the Tagheel's Ancient Book, you could do some pretty crazy stuff actually, and you've got the attack buff as well. So you could use Tywin, you know, on her, and the third team member could be Gunther, and he's like rocking 8,000 attack. But also, like, if you have an attack buffer, a team-wide attack buffer, it's gonna boost her attack and Gunter's attack. So if he's at like 8,000 attack and he's getting 50% boost from the attack buff, he's at 12,000. And now she's gonna use that attack with this skill against their whole team. So that's crazy. That's crazy. But we'll see the multipliers later on. It looks pretty... yeah, pretty cool. And other things I want to talk about is, I mean, she doesn't need that many Molagora. If you build her as a support, right, you don't have to worry too much about damage. So, I mean, I don't have to worry about this one. This one, of course, you want to max out. You want 100% chance to provoke. Skill 3, I mean, you want that -1 turn cooldown. And if you're gonna build her and you want to squeeze as much damage as possible, and you're gonna go with that setup with like Gunther or like any like high damage dealer with high attack, and you would need an attack buffer to really like maximize on the damage part. So yeah, I mean, you could max this out later on. Initially you could use her as a like support, quick support, very tanky. You lock down a hero with this, with the provoke, and then like, since she's gonna be dual attacking with other allies, like even in PVE, if you're gonna use her, you could pair her with, of course, damage dealer or dealers, Plus, if you're going to be running supports or a support or supports, make sure that their skill 1 can actually like land a debuff that's useful. So like attack break, decrease hit chance, combat readiness reduction, something of the sort, defense break on your damage dealer. It's going to be huge. So yeah, the faster she's going to go, the more often she's going to be able to trigger those dual attacks, and that's very powerful. And she's also a great fire bait, right? Like ice heroes will be attacking her, so you use her on offense for Guild Wars, for Arena, even for PVE. She could be that fire tank for you because you can actually build her very tanky. So that's good. And I would definitely run immunity set on her. I mean, let's say you're running this in PvP, right? You open with this, or I mean, you don't have to open with this, but it could be, you could have other heroes going first. But when she opens with this, and if you're facing heroes that can counterattack, or they have Elbrus Ritual Sword, you don't want her to be like provoked. You don't want her to especially be stunned, silenced, stuff like that. Or so you definitely want immunity set on her. So like I said, that's skill 2, 4-turn cooldown. She's not gonna be able to like permanently lock down a target unless you have some insane speed compared to what they have. But this is very powerful for a skill number 2. And the soul burn effect, of course, very powerful. And the crit chance buff, like you could definitely pair her with someone that has a crit chance buff, and high attack. Challenge the Domino with her could be very interesting, because also this attacks all allies. So like Domino could, she could go first, apply this crit chance buff, and then like she could follow. Or you could have an attack buffer first, then it's like challenge the Domino, then she goes and she's gonna hit really hard with this thing, and you don't need much crit chance on her. You could have like, she could be built mostly with crit damage and survival stats, speed, effectiveness, some crit chance to like, so you can reach like 40% if you have some memory imprint on Challenger Domino. It could be pretty interesting. And then she's gonna be boosting the combat readiness of Challenger Domino with this skill 3, because I mean you're gonna be landing a bunch of crits, but she's a fire hero, so if you're fighting like ice heroes, of course you're gonna have a 50% chance of missing your attack. But yeah, so what I feel is that that skill number 3, the whole her whole kit can really turn the tide of a battle like fairly quickly. But she is pretty stat hungry. Like she's gonna need a lot of stats, and if you want to maximize on her whole kit, you're gonna have to like if you're not gonna pair her with like someone that boosts combat crit chance, you're gonna need like high crit chance, high crit damage, good survival, and since she scales off of max HP, well, you're gonna want to have more max HP than defense, but still you need to balance your stats. You're gonna need some effectiveness as well. Run immunity set on her. It's really hard to make her to really maximize on her like potential, but she can definitely be a solid endgame hero for you, and she can definitely shine early on. In PvE, like I said, you should pair her with heroes that have a skill 1 that is powerful, that will apply a debuff. Imagine her paired with Charles it could be PvE, it could be PvP, but like in a Guild Wars situation, Charles, you trigger a dual attack with Charles, and then Charles use skill 1, and then he triggers skill 2. That is so much burst damage, right? So you have a lot of different setups that she can run, and she's gonna be very powerful to just control enemies in Guild Wars, even in Arena and on offense. And she can definitely disrupt the enemy team, and this will allow you to just finish a battle. Like you're not gonna be stuck in an endless battle where the healer, you just can't take it down because you can just land a provoke and soul burn this thing, right? And then like with like the burst potential that you can dish out with her and some some big threats like other teammates with her, you know, triggering a dual attack. And let's say you have a slow damage dealer or 2 slow damage dealers on your team. I mean, they're gonna need some immunity set and be pretty beefy so they don't get taken out. But it could be, you could be facing a team that has some pretty good sustain and not so much damage. But like they could be slow and she could be fast, and just like triggering a dual attack with one of them that can land the fans down or something like that, and then it's their turn to go. It's going to be a lot of burst damage that you can dish out. Maybe it's not going to happen instantly, but maybe after a few turns you can set that up, you get lucky and like things work your way and you can just burst down one of their hero, which is something that you couldn't really do without her, like because she could like lock down one with provoke, then you could have that big burst with the dual attack, and of course you got some combat readiness manipulation if there's any debuff coming your way. You've got that covered as well with this skill. So very interesting hero. And in PvE, I would say that she's going to be optimal if you manual play. If you manual play, you know, like you could, because you can't provoke a boss, so you're going to have to like shut down and add, let's say, an Abyss, automated tower in hard mode, something like that. So in manual play, she's definitely going to be shining more than on auto. And this thing, of course, like if she just uses it like straight off the bat and there's no debuff on your team, on manual you can just really like use it at a key moment and really turn the tide of a battle. And of course, like the dual attacks is going to be really cool, a lot of damage. So she's going to be support, that damage dealer support if you build her with high crit damage, but she's very stat hungry, so maybe not gonna shine so much early to mid game, but in late game she's gonna be really interesting to play with. So that's it for this one, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. Press the bell icon to be notified whenever I release a new video, and check out my other videos. They should be showing up on the screen now. Playlist of all sorts: Arena, Guild Wars, Guys, Tips, and How-Tos, and Abyss Floor 62+. So check those out if you haven't. And good luck with the summoning, guys. Hopefully this helped you to potentially decide if you will summon for her. But you're gonna have to look at your roster and figure it out for yourself. But I mean, just a great skill set. So yeah, once again, good luck with the summoning, and that's it for this one. Peace out for now.